Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we've got to talk about Lucid Group. Its stock just had this insane day that made everyone on Wall Street do a double take. So, what is going on? What's behind this massive price explosion for the luxury EV maker? So, get this. In just one day, one single trading session, Lucid's shares skyrocketed by a whopping 13.4%. Look, in the EV world, things are always a little crazy. But a jump like that, that's not just a blip on the radar. That's a major, major event. And we're not talking about some tiny little bump here. No way. This move literally made Lucid one of the top dogs in the entire EV space for the day. It just left most of its rivals completely in the dust. A rally this big, well, it begs the question, right? You have to ask what's going on. So, what was the spark? What was the catalyst here? You've got a company that, let's be honest, has been under some serious financial pressure. So how does it suddenly have this explosive rally? All right, let's dig in and figure it out. Okay, so the answer? It's not where you might think. It's not in Silicon Valley. Nope. You've got to look thousands of miles away to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And this is where the whole story just completely flips on its head. It wasn't just one thing. It was more like a perfect storm of good news all hitting at once. You had a key partnership announcement about its growing Saudi factory. And at the same time, you had all these social media posts going viral, just hyping up the production momentum. All of that together, it just totally changed the story for investors.
But that brings up a really important question. Why? Why is this Saudi connection so powerful? How can news from just one part of the world move the stock this much? Especially when, the company's been dealing with so many problems everywhere else.
Well, the reason is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly important. For Lucid, Saudi Arabia isn't just another market. It's not just another place to sell cars. No, it's a strategic partner. And it's a partner that helps solve some of Lucid's biggest, most nagging problems. And you can really break this whole advantage down into three key parts. First up, money. Strategic capital. The public investment fund is Lucid's biggest shareholder, which means the immediate risk of just running out of cash, it's way lower. Second, they're building cars right there, locally. That's going to lower costs. And third, guaranteed demand. The Saudi government is lining up to be a huge customer. That's a game changer. And this right here, this is the really critical piece of the puzzle. Think about it. We're talking about a nation that was built on oil, right? And now they're pouring money into a high-end electric car company. That is a huge statement. Lucid's success isn't just about Lucid anymore. It's a core part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 plan, their master plan to move their entire economy away from oil. That kind of government backing, it's the kind of tailwind other EV startups would kill for. And you could see the excitement everywhere, not just in the stock price. Trading volume just exploded. That tells you the big money players were jumping in with both feet. At the same time, social media was buzzing, and you had options traders making big bets that the stock would go even higher. It was, across the board, a massive vote of confidence. Okay, so it's really easy to get swept up at all this hype, right? But let's pump the brakes for a second. We need a little reality check here, because even with this amazing Saudi story, Lucid is still facing some very, very real risks. What you have with Lucid right now is a classic Wall Street showdown, the bulls versus the bears. The bulls, the optimists, they look at Saudi Arabia and see this clear, shining path to growth and stability. But the bears, the pessimists, they're pointing out that, hey, this company is still losing a ton of money on every car it sells, and the competition out there is absolutely brutal. And that bear case got a huge megaphone recently from a big name, Jim Cramer. He came out with a loud sell, sell, sell call, and his whole argument boiled down to one jaw-dropping number. Lucid burned through over $950 million in just one quarter. Oof. That's a number that's pretty hard to just brush aside. But on the flip side of that coin, you've got this massive wave of optimism from retail investors. It's being fueled by social media, with people celebrating every little piece of good news they can find about production numbers and deliveries coming out of that Saudi factory. But again, let's keep some perspective here. Even after this fantastic day, this huge jump, the stock is still down more than 68% from its 52-week high. So yeah, it was a great day, but it's just one single step on what is still a very, very long road back to the top. So this all leads to the big question, doesn't it? Where does Lucid go from here? The story, the narrative has definitely changed, but a good story doesn't pay the bills. Now it all comes down to one thing: execution.
And these are the things we all need to be watching. Can they actually hit their production targets in Saudi Arabia? Can they get that cash burn under control? And how in the world are they going to handle all the competition from, well, everywhere? The answers to these questions are what will tell us if this rally was the real deal or just a flash in the pan. So in the end, this one crazy, dramatic day leaves us with this one big provocative question. Is this the start of the great comeback story for Lucid, powered by Saudi Arabia? Or was it just a relief bounce, a temporary break from all the pressure? Honestly, only time and, more importantly, the numbers are going to tell that story.